students, welcome to BioLearning with Aparna. In our last session, we have started your new chapter, that is control and coordination. We have discussed in detail the coordination in animals. Now let us discuss control and coordination in plants. So let's start. In case of plants, firstly let us define the coordination. Now how can you define this coordination? So it is the ability to use different parts togetherly efficiently. So the plants that are having the ability to use different parts togetherly and efficiently, that ability is known as their ability for the coordination. Now, we have already discussed the control and coordination in the animals. Now, we know that in case of animals, there are two major factors that are able to make the abilities or the activities of the animal coordinately or that to be controlled. That two factors are, one that is the muscle tissue or the muscles, and the second most important is the nervous system. Now, in case of plants, there is neither the nervous tissue or system is present nor the muscles are present. Then obviously the question arises whether the plants they do not show the coordination or they do not respond to the stimuli or changes in the external environment. But this is not the case. The plants they do respond to the stimuli or they show the movement. Now this can be observed by two simple examples. First example is that of the plant, that is touch me not, or it is also called as the sensitive plant. In Marathi you may call it as Lazaru or Chuimui plant. Now it is from the family Mimosa. Now the specific feature of this plant is that, now you all know that whenever we touch the leaves of this plant, that leaves immediately start folding and drooping. Another example is the seeds. Now as soon as we sow the seeds in the soil, the seeds germinate and the shoot or the stem, it grows upright and the roots they grow downwards in the soil. Now what are these? These two are the movements that are observed in the plant. Again, if we compare the movements in the animals and the plants, the characteristic difference is that in case of animals, the movements are not growth dependent or they do not represent the growth. But in case of plants, as we see in case of germination of seeds, the movement is on the basis of the growth, or the movement it is growth dependent. While in case of touch me not plant, the movement of the leaves that is observed is not the dependent on the growth. So in short, the movements in the plant can be broadly categorized into two types. First one, that is independent of growth. So the movement that are independent of growth, or that can be called as growth independent movements. Again, here is the best example of our touch me not plant. So when we touch the leaves, what will happen? A stimuli will be generated, that is a message that of the touching has been carried out is conveyed to the other part. Now if we observe that the point of touching and the movement that is occurred, that is the point of movement or folding of that leaf. Now these are two different points. So wherever you touch the leaves, immediately that same leaf will never fold. So that obviously it is clear that the message or the stimuli of touching has been conveyed. Now even though there is no nervous tissue, there is no muscle, the conveying of the message or the stimuli is transferred in case of plants. Now here, in this movement, no growth is observed, but so this movement is growth independent movement. Now in case of animals, when the movement occurs, there is the change in the specific muscle tissue or the cells. Now this happens because of the specific protein in the muscle, that is the contractile proteins. Here the movement or the shrinkage or the swelling of the cells occur, and it is because of change in the water level. So it is the factor which makes the movement, that the change in the water level will carry out the folding of the leaves, and it is because of the changes in the cell. So cells will swell up or the cells will either shrink. So it results in the stimuli, that is the touching of the stimuli, and it will show the folding or drooping of the leaves. Now the another type of movement in the plant is the growth dependent movement. Now here we can observe the example of pea plant, or at your own house there might be the plant of money plant. Now what you observe this plant? Now these plants, they climb any other support, other part or the fences with the help of tendrils. Now these tendrils are sensitive to touch. So whenever these tendrils, it come in contact with the object, what will happen? At this side, the growth is slow. Then the other part of the tendril which is away from the object. So let us understand. Now whenever we observe the pea plant, now we observe that pea plant which climb on the object. That may be a rod, that may be other plant, or that may be the fences in your balcony. Now with the help of the tendrils, they climb on that support. Now these tendrils are sensitive to the touch. Now whenever that tendrils come in contact with the object, the growth is slow down than the other part of the tendril which is away from the object. Now at this side, these tendrils, they circle that object and they cling to that object. Now what will happen? So they circle that object and we will observe the growth of that plant, that is directional growth. Now as this growth is directional, it appears that the plant is showing the movement. So here we observe the growth of the plant in response to the specific support, but here we observe this movement in the form of growth. So such a movement is known as tropic movement, while the growth independent movement of the plant is known as nastic movement. So there are two major types of movements in the plant, that is tropic movement, which is growth dependent. So this movement can be represented or it can be observed in the form of growth of a particular plant, while another type is the nastic movement, which is growth independent movement. Now these tropic movements can be further classified into 5 major types on the basis of response of the plant to the specific stimuli. So the movement in case of plants to the stimuli is known as tropism or the tropic movement. Now on the basis of the different type of stimuli, there are different types of the tropic movements. Now this tropism may be either positive tropism or it may be negative tropism. Now if the plant shows movement towards the stimulus, then it is the positive tropism, and if the plant shows movement in the opposite direction of the stimulus, then it is the negative tropism. Now on the basis of the type of stimulus, there are 5 major types of tropism or the tropic movements. So first one is the phototropism. Second one is the geotropism. Third one is the hydrotropism. Fourth one is the chemotropism. And the last one is the thigmotropism. So depending on which type of stimuli is there, which makes the plant to move, there are 5 types. Now as the name suggests, phototropism is the movement of plant in response to the light. Now this mechanism of phototropism can be clearly visualized by performing a very simple activity. Take a conical flask, fill it with the water, cover it with the mesh. Then keep certain germinating seeds on the mesh, cover that flask and keep it in the window. Now after few days you will observe that the seeds are germinating. Then what you observe? The shoot is found to be growing towards the direction of light, while the roots that are developed, that will move in the opposite direction. Now just rotate that flask in the opposite direction. Again after few days you will observe that the stem will grow towards the light and the roots will grow away from the light. So the phototropism is observed, that is the positive phototropism is observed in case of the stem or the shoot system of the plant, while the negative phototropism is observed in case of the roots. So the movement of the plant towards the light or in response to light is known as phototropism. Next one is the geotropism. So the movement of plants towards the soil is known as geotropism. Now exactly opposite of phototropism, here the roots show the positive geotropism while the stem shows negative geotropism, because the roots they move towards the soil or in the direction of soil so that they can absorb the water and other minerals from the soil, while the stem it grows in the upward direction, so it is the negative geotropism. Then the next one is the hydrotropism, that is the movement of the plant in response to the water. Now here the roots they usually in case of aqueous plants, the roots they grow towards the water. Now next one is the chemotropism. So when the plants they show the movement in response to the specific chemical. Here the best example is the movement of pollen tube towards the ovule. Now these ovules they secrete a specific chemical component, because of which the pollen tube it shows the positive movement towards that ovule. So this is an example of chemotropism. And the last one is the thigmotropism, that is the plant shows movement in response to the touch. So again here also the example is of the tendrils of the pea plant, or the example of our favorite, that is the mimosa family plant, that is touch me not. So on the basis of the various stimuli, the tropic movements of the tropism can be classified as phototropism, geotropism, hydrotropism, chemotropism and the thigmotropism. And this tropic movement may be either positive, that is towards the stimuli, and the negative tropism, that is away from the stimuli. So thus in case of plants as well as in case of animals, along with the electrical impulse there is a chemical communication system. Now this chemical communication system or the chemical system, it involves mainly the specific chemical compounds that are known as hormones. Now what are hormones? The hormones are the chemical compounds or the chemical substances that act as messenger in our body, or it may be in the plant body or the animal body. Now the characteristic feature of these hormones is that it is released at one place or at one site, then it diffuses and act at another site. Act at another site. Now these hormones are produced in case of the chemical communication. Now, for example, how it happens, a stimulus is there. Now that stimulus may be in any form. Now the cells which are activated or the cells get stimulated. Now these stimulated cells, they release the hormones or the specific chemical components. Now these hormones, it diffuse around that producing cell. Now, surrounding that producing cell, whatever the different cells are there, if they are having the ability to recognize that specific chemical compound, that means that cell will have the specific receptors. So these receptors on the other cell will recognize, and they not only get stimulated, again they communicate this specific stimulus. So in this chemical communication process, the cells which are stimulated by the specific stimulus will release the hormone. That hormone will simply diffuse, and other cells that are coming in contact with that and which are having the specific receptor that will recognize that specific hormone will also get stimulated, and they will also convey that message or communicate that message to the other cells. Now, as compared to the electrical impulse, the communication, that chemical communication process is relatively slow. But irrespective of the contact of the nerve cells, it will communicate to cells throughout the body. Now, such a kind of hormones are present in the plants as well as animals also. So, the plants have a variety of hormones that we call it as phytohormones. So these are phytohormones. They communicate or they coordinate. The phytohormones, they coordinate growth, development, and response to the environment in plants. So irrespective of the variety of stimulus, the different types of hormones are present in the different plants. Now the major role of these phytohormones is that they will coordinate the growth, development and response to the environment in case of plants. Now these phytohormones are produced at one site. At one site these are produced and they act on another site. Act on the site that is away from the site where it is produced. Now how it is traveling? It travels or it simply diffuses. It simply diffuses to the site of action. Now let us discuss the different plant hormones. There are 4 major plant hormones that are auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, and the last one is the abscisic acid. Now we will see it one by one. Now, whenever the plant is exposed to the sunlight, So the shoot tip is the site where the auxin is produced. So it is the plant growth promoting hormone. Now one more thing is that the hormone may facilitate the growth or it may inhibit the growth. Anyhow, they bring about the coordination in the growth as in case of plants as well as animals. So here the auxin, gibberellins, cytokinins are the plant growth promoting hormones, while the abscisic acid is the plant growth inhibiting hormone. So auxin, it facilitates or it affects the growth at the shoot tip. It allows the shoot cells to grow longer. So they facilitate the longer growth of the shoot tip. Now when we consider or when we think about the phototropism, when the plant is exposed to the sunlight, now the area of the shoot which is exposed to the sunlight, it will grow faster. That we call it as phototropism. Now the shaded area, at this shaded area, the auxin concentration is higher and it will facilitate the growth at that area also. And we will observe the growth towards the light. So the auxin, it facilitates the growth at the shoot tip. It allows that cell to grow longer. Now similar is case with the gibberellins or the gibberellins. Now these gibberellins, it also facilitate the stem growth. Now the third phytohormone is the cytokinin. Now apart from these two, the cytokinin, it facilitates the cell division. So obviously the higher concentration of cytokinins are found or produced in the areas of rapid cell division. Areas of rapid cell division. Now where are these areas? So here the areas, that is the fruits and the seeds. So the role of cytokinins in the plant growth is that it will facilitate or it will promote the cell division process. So obviously higher concentration of cytokinins are found or produced in the areas of rapid cell division. So it is produced in the higher quantity in the fruits and seed. Now as the plants need the hormones which facilitate the growth, they also need a signal to stop the growth. It is not the case that the plant will continuously grow. So at a stage, specific stage, it also requires a signal to stop the growth. In that case, the role of abscisic acid is there. Now this abscisic acid, it inhibits the growth of the plant. Now the effect of abscisic acid can be observed in terms of wilting of leaves. So it is the effect of abscisic acid that the leaves after a specific time period, it get wilted and we observe the falling of the leaves. So coming to the end of today's session, we have seen that how the coordination and control is carried out in case of plants. So the major role of different hormones in plants that we have studied. So up till now, we have covered the control and coordination in animals as well as in case of plants. So in the coming video, we will discuss about the last session of your chapter, that is the hormones in the animal. So till then, stay tuned.